Now, children, we are starting the next part of the story. The next week, Hans played with a little puppy at his grandmother's house. In the afternoon, he said, Granny, can I take this puppy home? So, children, when next week Hans goes to his grandmother's house, he saw a little puppy with whom he played a lot. And in the evening, he asked his grandmother to take the puppy with him. So वो ग्रैनी से इवनिंग में पूछता है कैन आई टेक दिस पपी होम, मैं इस पपी को अपने घर ले जाऊं? Yes, but look after it carefully, said his grandmother. Hans stuffed the puppy into his pocket. When he took the puppy out at home, it didn't move. So grandma said, okay, but you have to take care of the puppy. Hans put the puppy in his pocket. This time, as he remembered his mother's words. उसको अपनी मम्मी के वर्ड्स याद थे जब उसकी मम्मा ने उसको बोला था that you should have put the knife inside your pocket. So now this time he put the puppy in his pocket, into his pocket. But when Hans reached home, the puppy was not conscious. The puppy was not moving because it did not get proper oxygen in the pocket. पपी पॉकेट के अंदर था तो उसको अच्छे से ऑक्सीजन नहीं मिली. सो ही वॉज नॉट फीलिंग कॉन्शियस, ही वॉज नॉट मूविंग. ओके. ओ वॉट हैव यू डन, यू फुलिश बॉय, क्राइड हिज मदर. वेन मदर सॉ दिस शी शाउटेड एट हंस, ओ फुलिश बॉय, वॉट हैव यू डन दिस. तो जब उसकी मम्मी ये सब देखती हैं कि पपी एकदम कॉन्शियस नहीं है, इट इज़ नॉट मूविंग बिकॉज इट डिड नॉट गेट प्रॉपर ऑक्सीजन. सो उसकी मम्मा उसको फिर से डांटती है कि हे फुलिश बॉय, ये क्या किया तुमने. ओके. बट आफ्टर सम टाइम द पपी ओपनड इट्स आइज. हियर इट इज़ रिटन, after a few minutes the puppy opened its eyes. Here the mama is scolding, oh, what have you done, you foolish boy, cried his mother. You told me to put it in my pocket, said Hans. After a few minutes the puppy opened its eyes. So जब मम्मा उसको डांटती है कि ये तुमने क्या किया, तो वो मम्मा को बोलता है आपने तो मुझे बोला था कि पॉकेट में रखने के लिए कुछ भी सामान. That's why I have put the puppy inside my pocket. But after a few minutes the puppy opened its eyes. Okay. You are a foolish Hans, said his mother. You should have pulled it along tied to a string. So mother said that you should have pulled it along tied to a string. तो उसकी मम्मा उसको बोलती है कि तुमको पपी को एक स्ट्रिंग से बांधना था और उसको अपने पीछे ड्रैग करना था. ओके. सो जैसे हम डॉगी को घुमाते हैं बाहर रोड पर, सो इन दिस वे उसकी मम्मा उसको बोलती हैं ऐसे तुमको पपी को लेकर आना था घर पे. How could you put the puppy inside your pocket? Okay, understood, children? Now, next week, Hans took the puppy to his grandmother's house. After tea, his grandmother said, here is a piece of meat. Carry it home to your mother. So next week, when Hans went to his grandmother's house, he returned the puppy to her. And when he was returning to his home, when Hans was returning to his home in the evening, his grandmother gave him a piece of meat. Okay, to give his mother. तो वो उसको मीट देती हैं, a piece of meat, और उसको बोलती हैं ये घर ले जाकर अपनी मम्मा को दे देना. Okay. Now children, third page of the story. Hans tried the meat with the string and dragged it along behind him. The puppy followed Hans, nibbling the meat. Now Hans again remembered his mother's words. उसको फिर से अपनी मम्मा के वर्ड्स याद आते हैं कि तुमको पपी को एक धागे से बांध के अपने पीछे पीछे लेकर आना था. सो नाउ ही डिड द सेम विद द मीट. मीट को वो ऐसे धागे से बांधता है और उसको अपने पीछे ड्रैग करता है. ओके. So now Hans again remembered his mother's words. So he tied the meat with a string and dragged it. Okay, वो उसको ऐसे पीछे पीछे अपने खींचता है. The puppy was also following Hans as it was eating the piece of meat behind Hans. So here it is written, the puppy followed Hans, nibbling the meat. So that puppy you can see in the picture. The puppy was also following Hans and it was eating the piece of meat. ये पीछे पीछे इसके चल रहा है, ये string के साथ इसने मीट को बांधा है. And now the puppy is following Hans and the puppy is eating this meat, eating the piece of this meat behind Hans. And Hans was not aware of this. Hans को पता ही नहीं है कि उसके पीछे पीछे puppy भी आ रहा है and he is finishing all the meat. Okay. When Hans got home, he had no meat. So when Hans reached his home, there was no meat as the puppy ate all the meat. पूरी puppy ने पूरा meat को finish कर दिया था and when he reached home, there was no meat in the string. You should have put it in a piece of paper and put the packet on your head, said his mother. So again mother was angry and said that you should have wrapped the meat in a paper and put the packet on your head. So फिर उसकी मम्मा उसको बोलती है मीट को ऐसे थोड़ी ना लाया जाता है. You should have wrapped the meat in a paper, in a piece of paper, and then you could put the packet on your head. In this way you could bring the meat to your house. Okay. Next week, Hans' grandmother gave him a pound of butter. Hans wrapped the butter in some paper and put the packet on his head. So next week when Hans again visited his grandmother's place, his grandmother gave him butter, a pound of butter. Butter देती हैं उसको. And again Hans remembered his mother's words that when mother said that you should wrap the meat in a paper and then you should put the packet on your head. So he remembered this word. So here what he did here, Hans wrapped the butter in some paper. अभी वो butter को ऐसे paper में wrap करता है and then put the packet on his head. और उस packet को, butter packet को he put on his head. When he reached home, his mother looked at him and cried out, "What is all that yellow stuff on your head and back?" So when his mother saw all this something yellow thing on his head and back as the butter was melted in the sun, so जब उसकी मम्मा ये सब देखती हैं कि something on his face, on his head and back, some yellow thing, she shouted again. And what was that? That was butter. The butter had melted in the sun. So butter पूरा sun में melt हो गया था. So melt होके वो उसकी पूरी back पर, head पर and face पर आ गया था. So now the mother was shouting कि what have you done this? What is this yellow stuff on your face, on your neck, on your back? You are a foolish boy, said his mother. So now the mother was very angry. She said that you are a foolish boy, Hans. You don't know anything. So children, do you like the story about Hans? This is a funny story. This is a funny boy, innocent boy. Now tell me, what have you learned from the story? Have you learned something from the story? Yes, we have learned that we should keep all the things very carefully. हमको सारी चीज़ें बहुत carefully रखनी चाहिए and we should be very careful while helping our family members and while doing work at home. So whenever we are doing work at home, we are helping our parents, we are helping our grandparents, we should be very careful at that time. Okay, so from this story we learned this. Okay children, do you like this? Thank you.